Well, it's time for our main event. And what a main event it was for the World Heavyweight Championship #3, Seth Franklin Rollins and Damian Priest. They set it up at the top of the program. None of the Judgment Day at ringside. It's going to be one-on-one. And did you notice, by the way, again, the WWE is on a roll. The arena was jammed. They had people all the way up in Hartford and all the way around to where the stage and the entranceway and et cetera blocks off the view. And even then it looked like some of them were behind. And I've been in that, but that's the building. Not only was it WrestleMania, what was it with Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam? Which number was that?
11.
11 was in Hartford in that building, but also that's where Brett and Sean had their pull apart in the bathroom. And Sean got the bald spot. And it's been there for a while, but it's a nice building anyway. It looked good, and there were people everywhere. It wasn't like constant lights and sets and grids and screens to where it looked like an old time, wrestling atmosphere. Anyway, they seemed to be into it also. They had the signs, the whole 9 yards, and they gave this match time. There was 22 minutes left in the show at the bell. And they started hot, and they were starting to back and forth. And even this match, a minute to the break. Brian, did they show the complete on-court entrances and introductions for the NBA Finals and start the first quarter and go to break a minute into it with action going on?
They wouldn't dare.
So even for this match, but nevertheless, they gave it plenty of time, but it was spread over 3 segments. So when they came back, Priest stopped him out on the floor and got heat. And I think they went back and forth, and it was a very modern style match. But not only did they do a good job with it, but Priest, who would be the inexperienced one in this equation, hung with it all the way. He didn't get lost. He didn't make any mistakes. And they worked well together, and they kept going back and forth, and they would end up doing the big explosion and payoff of a spot, to go to the break, like Priest catching him on a dive and face planting him on the desk. But then the only thing that, again, I just have to scream about because they were doing so good is finally they come back from that last break and they're fighting on the top turnbuckle, and Seth hits a beautiful superplex off the top. Holy shit, boom, they both hit flat and bounced. And boy, and then they roll right up, and both of them try to start doing that fucking stupid Falcon Arrow thing. What is a fucking Falcon Arrow anyway? Is an arrow sticking out of a bird's chest? What? What is it?
I hadn't thought about the literal definition of the whole.
What is a fucking Falcon Arrow? And why, when you've just taken this big flat back bump off the top rope, whether you've given it or taken it, it looked like $1 million, and boom, and there you could land and sell, but instead they roll right back up to their feet, and now Priest goes to pick Rollins up, and he's the one that got the superplex delivered to him. But then Seth blocks it and then picks him up and hits the bump that's a third of the height and the force that he just fucking gave the guy that he didn't sell, but this time he sells it. What? And why are we mad at the Falcon? Anyway.
Is there a bird that you are mad at?
The turkey buzzards are a nuisance this time of year.
Turkey buzzards?
You don't have turkey buzzards?
I don't think so.
The goddamn wingspan on those turkey buzzards is about 10 or 12 feet. Look them up. They'll carry a dog away if you let them. Anyway, so then they really started going into the big stuff, and they get numerous 2 counts back and forth and the people are into it, but they're not rushing through this. They are selling some things. It's just, sometimes they're not selling others. And then finally, what a fucking bump. After they go through some of these 2 counts, they end up on the floor, and Seth gives the buckle bomb to Priest into the barricade But he didn't get his arms over the top of the barricade. He threw him flat down on his ass on the floor, and his back hit the barricade. And I'm like, God damn, that probably stirred memories of hemorrhoids past. And then as he throws Priest back in the ring, suddenly Finn is there at ringside. He came through the people, and he nails a super kick to Finn, Seth does, and then goes back in, and Priest hits a big clothesline and choke slam and gets a 2 count. But then when he gets up, he sees Finn, and he says to Finn, Priest does, why are you here? Because they'd made the deal, see, before. And this is why I'm thinking that there's going to be more dissension out of this, because as soon as he looks and says, why are you here? Then he goes for the razor's edge, but his bad shoulder gives out, and Seth hits a couple of strikes and the curb stomp 1, 2, 3. But then as Seth Franklin leaves, there's the face-off between Priest and Balor in the ring, and then my DVR froze. Did they exchange any comments or just look at each other in a menacing fashion?
That was all I saw.
Apparently then, more later on this. But it's a good match, and Priest is a top guy, and they need those. I'm just wondering. Again, I know it's a different show, but you got one group having strife internally. I'd leave it at that for the promotion, especially since it's a top angle in the fucking company.
Does Rollins feel like a world champion to you?
No, it's not.
Right now, I mean.
No, because it's not that. And I mean, they did a great number for this show again. Raw's rocking too, as well as SmackDown, we'll talk about. But it's just, again, it's not the guy. It reminds me of when Jerry Jarrett wanted to make the CWA world title. It wasn't that Billy Robinson or Austin Idol or Jerry Lawler couldn't be accepted as world champions. It was brand new, and it was kind of, you could kind of tell we need a belt. And to me, this is still with Roman Reigns, the guy. Nobody else can be the guy. And any kind of world champion, universal champion, global champion, whatever descriptor you're going to use for it, you got to be the guy. Not guys.
If you were going to turn one of them babyface, would you turn Damian Priest or Finn Balor?
I don't think with Finn, he's just starting to kind of, as we've mentioned, get enjoyable in the Judgment Day as the wise ass with the whiny voice that can drop falls when needed, because the other ones don't need to get beat right now. Priest will be a good babyface, but he should be more of a top single heel first on this run before I think he becomes that. So I don't know that you turn either one of them. Maybe mommy can play peacemaker and give them both a piece or two, and they'll be peaceful.